9. Government. She was wearing a long coat to hide what was underneath. Her hair was tucked into a shawl. She wore dark glasses, although they couldn't conceal the barcode tattoo beneath her left eye. But she didn't mind that. It made it harder for people to tell what she was. The Chadstone Walmart Mall was 6 stories in places, and mezzanine style all the way down. The Nike Town was on the 4th level. She glanced down as she stepped off the escalator. On the ground floor, shoppers floated around 2 gleaming Mercedes automobiles. There was already a crush around the Nike Town, made up of maybe 4 dozen teenagers, most in school uniforms. The store had its shutter down, but a bald man in a suit was walking through it. He waved his arms excitedly. The kids rattled the shutter in response. The doors to the Nike Town had long metal swishes as handles she saw tapering to a point. They looked pretty dangerous. She hoped none of these teenagers were going to impale themselves. There was a Barnes & Noble a few stores down, with a nice reflective window, so she stood in front of it for 20 minutes. She saw no one likely to be her target. At one point she caught herself reading the jackets of the books in the window, and jerked her eyes away. Possibly the book of the year, the jacket said, which she found unlikely. This was Barnes & Noble's non-best-selling authors floor. After 35 minutes she saw a young man in a camouflage pants. He was on the opposite side of the Nike Town, across the gap, leaning on the guardrail. He lit a cigarette. From the bulge in his jacket he was carrying a gun in his shoulder holster. There were 30 feet of air between him and the Nike Town, which would protect him from the crowd, and an emergency exit directly behind him. There was no doubt this was her target. The kids had been chanting for 5 minutes, "Open! Open! Open!" but how they started shrieking, almost screaming. Girls waved rolls of money, jumping in excitement. Then the Nike Town shutter clouded upward, and the noise turned into a cacophony. The teachers stampeded. She saw a boy go down, crying out. She turned and began walking quietly toward the store, glancing at the target. He was straightening, tossing aside his cigarette. "Sold!" a man shouted. In the Nike Town, 4 girls, wearing McDonald's school uniforms, were screaming with delight, holding a box of Mercuries. No, 4 boxes, and there were more. The shelves were lined with them. Her information had been wrong. The store had more than 5 pairs. It had dozens. The girls forced their way out of the store, talking excitedly. The target slipped a hand in his jacket. "I can't believe it. I can't believe we each got a pair. We should get more. We should go back in." The girls squeezed past her. She kept still, unable to move until the target did. The last girl, the one with the dark hair, moved directly in front of her. She could still smell the girl's perfume. A man in the crowd pressed a gun to the back of the girl's neck. Her instinctive reaction, the emotion that burst across her brain first, was disappointment. Wrong one. I targeted the wrong one. Then the gun fired, sharp and loud. The girl went down. The crowd screamed and flinched like a single animal. The assassin was a muscular young man in a black t-shirt. He was 5 feet away from her, and their eyes met. "They're killing people for their Mercuries," someone shouted, and the crowd surged. The assassin broke for the Barnes & Noble. She threw off her coat and handed the machine gun concealed inside it. It was a Vector SS-77, heavy and awkward, but capable of 900 rounds a minute. 4 steps on her right took her out of the crowd. She dropped to her knee and squeezed the trigger. He zagged as if he'd known it was coming, and she blew out the Barnes & Noble window. Disintegrating novels, she tracked him as quickly as she was able to, with the Vector shuddering against her shoulder. She tore up the floor in thick plaster chunks. The assassin dived through the Toys R Us windows. She dropped the Vector and broke out her 2 .45s. He was scrambling for his footing among the display of life-size Barbie dolls. She wasn't fortunate enough for him to have cut his throat on the plate glass, it seemed. She squeezed the triggers, letting the pistols go fully automatic. The arm of a Dr. Barbie exploded. She tore Prom Queen Barbie in half. The assassin rolled and vanished into the store. She pulled off her glasses and shawl and ran. This was not good. She was not going to be able to chase down muscular young men in t-shirts. Not with the amount of body armor she was wearing. She ran anyway. The assassin was reached the in-store escalators. There were shoppers everywhere, staring at her. "Out of the way," she shouted. "Get down." They scattered, and she dived for the escalator, landing on her stomach and sliding, leading with her 45s. There was a man at the bottom looking up, and she almost put him down before she, recognizing he wasn't the target. She regained her feet and looked around. Toys R Us was like a bowling alley. Nothing but endless aisles. Which way? Where'd he go? He pointed at the nearest aisle. She ran, but it was empty. Fluorescent lit racks of Star Wars characters stood mutely. She moved on to the next aisle, then the next. It was quiet. No panting, no running, no shrieking shoppers. This meant the assassin had gone native, trying to blend in with the crowd. She ran for the exit. A checkout boy saw her guns and hollered. She jumped the turnstile and kept running. A crowd had gathered the railing to stare up at the Nike Town on level 4, and a man was walking briskly toward the central escalators, a well-built young man in a black t-shirt. She pushed through the crowd to the edge of the mezzanine and clambered up to the railing. When she could see him clearly, she balanced herself with her legs and shouted, "Freeze!" Her voice echoed. "This is the government." He turned. It was the assassin. Less than 2 feet in front of him, the escalator turned. He looked at it, then at her. "Don't move." He raised his hands. "Thanks," she thought. She gestured with a pistol and stepped away from the escalator. She glanced down to see if it was clear for her to jump down for the railing. The thing was, she should have seen it coming. She had identified him from the beginning. When she saw his reflection in the window of Barnes & Noble, she should have realized there were two of them. He was maybe 20 feet away. He had a pistol pointed at her. There was nothing she could do. He fired it. It was like being hit by a car. Her feet went out from under her as she felt the fluorescent lights twisted and swirled above her. She had time to think the lights looked like angels. Then she landed on the roof of a Mercedes, catching the car with her spine. Its windshield blew out. The car rocked wildly. She blinked. She could still blink. After a while, some faces appeared above her. "Get her down," someone said, and someone else said, "No, don't move her." "Honey," a woman said, "I'll call help for you. What's your name?" "Government." Her tongue felt like a bloated, broken sausage. All she could taste was blood. Jennifer Government. 10. American Express. Vi hadn't meant to hang around. He was happy with himself. Now he was going to go home and sleep, but he hesitated at one of the Mercedes, attracting the attention of the dealer and becoming ensnared in a sales pitch, and so was still there to hear the shots. He dropped to a crouch, aware that everyone around him was doing the same, and craned his neck upward. Gunfire broke out again, an automatic weapon. He heard the screaming, glass breaking. Vi and the dealer crawled toward the cars, seeking cover. The mall felt silent. It was eerie, so many people being so quiet. Then after a minute they started to emerge. Vi got to his feet. The dealer wrung his hands. "Excitement. I think I'm going to take a lick," Vi said. "You should leave it to mall security," the dealer said. "I know first aid." Not many people did. There was too much risk of being sued. He got the escalator up. On the 4th floor, there were a lot of teenagers standing around, dazed. Some were covering inside shops. Glass sparkled outside the Barnes & Noble, and a line of jagged holes on the floor marked a path towards Toys R Us. On the ground outside the Nike town, a girl was bleeding to death. He said, "Haley?" Her neck was exposed. He ran to her, tore off his jacket, tried to staunch the flow of blood. Her eyes rolled. "Someone call an ambulance," he roared. "I have a cell phone here," a kid said, handing it to him. Vi dialed the 911 and tucked it under his ear. Haley was looking at him. He realized she wanted him to take her hand. He squeezed it tightly. 911 emergency. How can I help you?" "I need an ambulance. Quickly, a girl's been shot at the Chadstone Walmart Mall." "Certainly, sir. Can you tell me the girl's name?" Haley something. Please come straight away." "Sir, I need to know if the victim is part of our register," the operator said. "She's one of our clients. We'll be there within a few minutes. Otherwise, I'm happy to recommend—" "I need an ambulance," he shouted, and it was only when water splashed on his hand that he realized he had started to cry. "I'll pay for it. I don't care. Just come." "Do you have a credit card, sir?" "Yes. Send someone now." "As soon as I confirm your ability to pay, sir. This will only take a few seconds." He looked at the faces around him. Someone help her. Help her. The kid who had loaned Vi his cellular knelt down and held the jacket over the wound. A girl began stroking Haley's hair. Vi dragged his wallet out from the back pocket and retrieved his credit card. Haley's eyes were fixed on him. "I promise," he told her. "I promise. I have an American Express." "That's fine, sir. Could you read your card number to me, please?" 971403. Two shots rang out from somewhere below them, close. The people around him shrieked and fled. Only the kid stayed crouching lower. 6. People were screaming. Someone hit the ground, or one of the Mercedes, with a deafening boom. "Sir, are you there? I can't catch the number, sir." 97. The kid put his hand over the buys. "Mister, I don't think it matters." Haley was no longer looking at him. Her eyes were turned upward, at the Nike Town sign, at the fluorescent lights. Her face was white. "Oh, no," Vi said. "No, please." "Sir," the operator said, "can you please repeat your credit card number for me, sir?" "Sir? Are you there? Sir? Part 2. 11. Hack. They came for him at 11 o'clock the following night. Hack was in the front of the television. He had AOL Time Warner. 182 channels, and 4 including CNN-A, were running non-stop on the Mercury killings. He sat on the floor, wrapped in a blanket, and flicked from one channel to the other. He'd been doing it for 30 hours. That's one theory, Mary. But one thing's for sure, there are 14 confirmed dead, and nobody. Some Nike Town stores are now closed, but many remain open. Despite the obvious risk, with demand for Mercury's running at fever pitch, the words flowed around him. He couldn't hear anything except the number 14. The security buzzer sounded, startling him. He got up and walked to the kitchen. "Hello, it's John. Can I come up?" "Who?" He heard laughter. He said, "Hey, who?" John said, "Come on, Hack. Don't mess with us. This is a crappy neighborhood." Hack froze. "John Nike, you subcontracted, didn't you, Hack? You passed on the job. I guess we didn't make ourselves clear, and that's really your fault." "I blame myself and John here. He feels terrible, don't you, John?" A second voice. "Let's talk about it, Hack. Open the door. This isn't a good time." There was a pause and much clearer. "Hack, you little crap, open the door." He pushed the security button and heard it sound downstairs. He took a step away from the intercom and stared at it. He hoped he wasn't making another big mistake. When the John knocked on his front door, he unlocked it with trembling fingers. The door swung open. The sudden light from the hallway dazzled him. He shielded his eyes and lost his grip on the blanket. "Oh," Vice President John said, stepping past him. "What are they, Disney boxer shorts, and are you a merchandising officer?" "You look like crap," the other John said. They were both wearing dark suits. They had gleaming black shoes. "Hack, your breath." John was already in the living room. The bedroom door was ajar. Hack saw Violet was asleep in there. Come in, Hack. We've got something to show you. As he passed by the bedroom door, he pulled it close. The Johns didn't seem to notice. Hack sat on the sofa and tugged the blanket around himself. The other John found Hack's remote and zapped the TV. An image of Vice President John jumped onto the screen. Oh, we missed the start. You kept us waiting too long, Hack. On the screen, John said, none of that takes away from the fact that this is a real tragedy. We understand that people value our products very highly, the Nike Air range, the very successful Nike Jordan label, and of course the amazing new Nike Mercuries. But to kill for a pair is wrong, and Nike will not tolerate it. I think you should have thumped the podium, the other John said. For a fact, understatement, John said. That's the key. We will hunt down the killers and we will see justice done. That's a promise from Nike. That's a money-back guarantee. Killer clothes, John said. Pardon the pun. He looked at Hack. What do you think? You're going to turn me into the government. There was no point in going for the door. Maybe the window. Hack's hands tightened into fists. The Johns burst out laughing. Hack, the other John said. You are one crazy kid. You're a Merc officer, Vice President John said, putting a hand on his shoulder. Sometimes we forget that not everyone understands marketing like we do. Hack, what you just saw was a press release. We have no intention of hunting down the people responsible because the people responsible are us. All right. Hack nodded. But the thing is, that was meant to be our little secret, and it's not anymore, is it? You couldn't keep your mouth shut. I mean, Hack, if we wanted to use someone outside the company, we would have picked up the effing phone, you know. I didn't know that, Hack said. You never said anything about, look, there's no point in wasting time over whose fault it is, Vice President John said. Although, frankly, Hack, it's yours. All we can do now is control it. So first question, who do you subcontract to? The police. John nodded. Okay, but professional organization at least. You seen their ads, John? Sure, 86% success rate. Yeah, John said. That's a really amazing figure. He looked at Hack. I'm assuming you told him it was a Nike's job. Don't be coy, Hack. We know these agencies insist on knowing where the job is coming from. Okay, yeah, I told them. The other John said. Hack, you dumb. Shh, Vice President John said. It's okay, Hack. Now we're getting somewhere. I mean, obviously none of this is good from a big picture point of view. Overall, it's very effed, a commercial incompetence arrangement getting spread all over the place. But on the individual level, as far as our relationship goes, Hack, I'm very pleased you're being straight with me. He leaned forward so his face was almost touching Hack's. His skin seemed uncomfortably tight, his cheekbones artificially prominent. And since we're sharing, I'd like to let you in on a secret. The police didn't do these shootings. You want to know who did? Hack said. The NRA. They've got data on 6 incidents, and it smells like those National Rifle clowns all the way. They think undercover is guys in black t-shirts and camouflage pants. So what does that suggest to you, Hack? Hack shook his head. It means the police subcontracted too, John sighed. Everyone wants to outsource these days. No one has any respect for core competencies. But Nike is friendly with the NRA, Hack. With us both being in the U.S. Alliance program, if we'd wanted to subcontract, we would have chosen them ourselves. So if the job went from you to the police to the NRA, that's only one unsecured link in the chain, which again is not fantastic. But it isn't a catastrophe. What would be a catastrophe is if there are other links in the chain, links we don't know about. You follow me? You want to find out if the police went straight to the NRA? Brilliant, Einstein, the other John said. He was watching the TV, which was replaying a scene at the Sydney Nike town. About 200 teenagers were storming it, clawing at each other for position. The plate glass window shattered. The John snickered. That's exactly what I want you to do, Vice President John said, smiling. Now? Now? I'll accompany you. John will wait here. Got any snacks? The other John said. Hack said, thinking about Violet. Why don't you both come with me? Or how about I'll go talk to the police afterwards and I'll call you? The other John looked up. Don't tell us what to do, Hack. Don't even think about doing that. I think we should go, Vice President John said. He wasn't smiling anymore. No, I really do.